Okay, we're going to create web animate banner using Animate CC. So starting from the new file, default setting 550 by 400 pixel dimension and 24 frames per second frame rate. I'm gonna change the size of your stage into 960 pixel by 200. Okay, so it's kind of long horizontal. Let me change the size, the view size to 75. Okay, so first go to Photoshop and Google the images. And I chose to use the Arches National Park image um, and save each image as a 960 by 200, 250. Okay, I'm gonna change it in my movie settings later. Okay, 960 by 250 and save as a JPEG. Command Option Shift S. Okay. All right. Back to Animate CC. Change it to 250. So that's the size. So first, we're going to create the one movie clip symbol, animating and kind of looping, rotating from the first image, second and the third, and going back to the first image um, by overlapping, fading in and out, in and out, in and out thing. So first, open the library panel and let's create new movie clip symbol. I'm gonna name it as slides. Okay. First, let me import 3 images we saved. One, I think that is this. Let me check the size. Oh, not this one. Where are you? A and P. Yep. So 1, 2, 3. 3 different images. And set the position to 0 by 0 point. Okay. Now I'm gonna assign just one layer per image by using this to distribute to layers. And what's going to happen is once you choose this option, Animate CC will assign one layer per image like this. Delete the first one, we don't need it. But make sure you are working on slice movie clip symbols within editing window, not on your main scene. Still, main scene number 1 has nothing. Okay, back to my slice movie clip symbol. Okay, 75. Okay, so from the very first one, so what we're gonna do is my first image will be fading out, and while my first image is fading out, my second image will be fading in. So it's a kind of overlapping. One is fading in, one is fading out, and that kind of a sequence will be happening to the next image, and then going back to the first image. So first, since this is a motion tween, let me insert the motion tween. And my second image, insert the motion tween. My top one, insert motion, that didn't work. Hey, insert motion tween. And when you insert the motion tween, make sure you are selecting the first keyframe, motion tween. And select all. I'm going to insert keyframe by hitting F6 key. And let me extend it up to 100 frame because the our current setting is 24 frames per second, and then if I only use 24 frames, that means this fading out effect will be happening in 1 second, which is too short, too quick. So I'm kind of expanding up to 100, maybe a little over, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 seconds. So 4 seconds is a kind of an okay time. So all three layers, three images now have frame number 1 to 100, except the bottom layer, the very first image. I'm going to expand my time inserting. I'm going to insert another keyframe on frame number 200 on top and the second image by hitting F6. Okay. Now let me hide top in the second layer. So this first image will be fading out, starting from the 100% alpha value down to 0. And then, as I mentioned, while that thing happens, the second image will be starting fading in. So first, we start from the 100, so I'm going to leave it. Let me move my playhead onto frame number 100, and then select your first frame, the first image. Make sure you have to click on your image. Properties panel, color effect, style, choose the alpha, and change the alpha value down to 0. So meaning your image is kind of fading out like this. Okay, so first one is done. And the second one, while my first image is fading out, the second image is supposed to be fading in by changing the alpha value from the 0 to 100. And once it hits frame number 100, it will go back to 0 so that this image can be faded out. So maybe select the first keyframe, click on your image, this is important, change the alpha value starting from the 0 on frame number 100, second keyframe, back to 100, and the third keyframe, back to 0. So what happened now is, while my first image is fading out, the second image is kind of fading in. And the second image is fading out. Same thing will happen on your top layer. Select the first keyframe, select the image, alpha value from 0 to 100, and the last back to 0, fading out. So now what happened is this, but the second and the third image on the same time, same timeline. So select the top layer and choose the entire segment by keep pressing your cursor mouse button, and then move the first keyframe to frame number 101. So let me take a look at this. Fading in and out, and the third one fading in and out. So this happens. Okay. Let me test the movie, command return, and see what happens. Nothing happens yet because the movie clip symbol we have is still in the library. It's not in your main scene. So what I need to do is, from the library, select the slice, which has everything, 3 images and all layer information, and then just drag and drop. Okay, and let me test the movie, command return. So fading in and out, and in, this is third one, and out. The problem is this, you can see the kind of white flashing scene, kind of cut off, which is not smooth. So what we need to do is, let me close this window, back to slice movie clip symbol window. So by default setting, without any action script or without any kind of a command, it will keep looping once it hits the last keyframe and goes back to the beginning. So on the very last keyframe, we are seeing the white thing. So to make it the kind of a smoother transition between the very last one and the first one, uh, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select my very first image, this one. Let me hide tab 2. That's easier. This. Copy, Command C, and let me make a new layer on very top. Okay, and then I'm going to insert a blank keyframe on frame number 200 or 201, doesn't matter. Okay, so let me insert a blank keyframe and let me paste in place, Command Shift V, the very first one. Okay, and then this very first image will be fading in from 0% to 100, and then that means once it hits the frame number 300, it goes back to the beginning, which we have 100% of our very first image. So let me select this keyframe, insert the motion tween, and on frame number 100, let me insert keyframe by hitting F6. Okay, and then this is going to be fading in. So from the properties panel, make sure you're choosing the image on frame number 200, alpha, starting from 0%, and at the end, back to 100. So this image is exactly the same image of my first keyframe, the first layer. So this is done. So once you choose the change, make any changes on your movie clip symbol, and when we play it, command return. This is the second, this is the third. Now first image is going to be fading in. And back to the very beginning. So there is no white flashing things. It's a smooth looping. Okay. So this is done. Now I'm going to add just one more kind of a text animation. First thing is, let me change my layer's name. I'm on scene number 1. Layer's name is going to be BG. No, BG background. New layer on top. First, I'm going to type. This is pretty big, long name, but let me just type it. Arches National Park. Arches National Park. Too little. Maybe about that size. Arches National Park. Let me test it. So nothing's happening. Okay, we're going to animate individual letter. So select the Arches National Park. First, since we're going to have the all separate individual animation on each letter, we will need to separate this entire word into individual letters. So modify, break apart, Command B. So now it is all individual letters. And then this in each letter needs to have one separate layer, so we can edit under the modify menu, timeline, and distribute to layers. So this happens. Let me move this up. See, it's all individual layers. And the very top layer, which used to have the Arches National Park entire word, now has nothing, so I'm going to delete it. Okay. Another thing, let me lock my very first bottom layer. These letters, this is about the web typography. we can use it. And then on the font choice, that my typographic choice is Arial Black, which is okay because most of your end users computer and the OS system has the Arial Black, so it's pretty kind of a generic, pretty normal, so it has no issues on viewing. But if we are using there's some kind of very fancy typefaces, I downloaded from the web or from the any kind of my sources, and then in that case my end user may not have the font on their computer. Then what's going to happen is your letters or my letter, my typeface, it could be replaced by your end user's computer's default system font, like Helvetica, Courier, Times New Roman, Geneva. It depends on how end user sets on their operating system. So the safest way is we're gonna break apart one more time. Then each letter will turn into graphics. It's like a create outline in Illustrator. So let me modify and break apart again. So now this is a graphic. Okay, now we're going to do something. First thing, what I'm going to do is if I work from this point, then based on the 24 frame rate, and then maybe 24 frames per each letter, it's gonna be too slow. So I'm going to change my frame rate temporarily down to 10. Okay, and let me select first keyframe, insert motion tween, insert motion tween, insert motion tween. Oh my, I think they should add another function for applying the motion tween for multiple layers at a time. They used to do it, and some reason they got rid of it, which is not good, but this is the only option we have now. Okay, motion tween. So if I have the like a Yellowstone or Yosemite with a lot of letters, that's gonna be a lot of work, very labor intensive. Motion tween, motion tween, motion tween, and motion tween. Okay, so I'm done. And I'm going to insert a keyframe for each letter, but this time you can select all layers at a time by holding down the shift key and click. And then let me insert F6. So I can have a keyframe. But I don't see the letters because my text color was white and my background color is white. So let me change my background stage color temporarily to black so I can see the letter. So from the very beginning, letter A, insert motion tween. I already did it. So what I'm going to do is select my letter, open the transform panel, make sure you check your constraint kind of chain icon so we can keep the same proportion width and height. I'm going to make it larger, maybe 700. That's a big. I'm going to rotate it 90 degree. And also I'm going to change the alpha value from 0 to 100. So this letter is going to be kind of getting smaller and rotating and fading in like that. Okay, I will repeat the same step for each letter. Letter R, transform 700. I will enter all the same values so we can keep the same consistencies. 90, and then alpha from 0% to 100, fading in. And same thing for the letter C. Open transform panel, 790-degree angle and fading in, starting from the 0% of alpha value, and on frame number 10 back to 100, fading in. H from the very beginning. H. Transform 700%. It's a kind of a routine, 90-degree, and alpha value, starting from 0% and down to 100. Okay, and letter E, same thing, from the very beginning. Transform 790-degree, and alpha value from 0% to 100. Oh no, S, I forgot. 700%, 90-degree, alpha value from 0 to 100. Okay. So let's see what happens for now so far. Arches. Rotating, getting smaller, and fading in. Okay. I will repeat the same thing for the other words in national park. Let me do it as quick as I can. Okay. I'm not gonna say anything until this is done. Halfway done. No. Okay. Yeah, it scares me. I should know. Yeah. Okay. 700 again. I'm almost getting there. Once it is done, it's almost done. Okay, alpha from 0% to 100. Last two letters are 790. Alpha value from 0 to 100. Okay, the last letter, 790 degree. Alpha value from 0 to 100. Yay, so this is done. But the problem is, once it is done, you see that kind of the alignment is kind of irregular. So select all at the end on your frame number 10, and then open the align panel and set into the bottom baseline. So which is okay now. Okay. So almost done. The problem is the letters are kind of coming in at the same time. So first, let me do this. Let me change my frame rate back to 24, the normal settings. So which is okay, but just to make it more dynamic, I want to have a different timeline for each letter, so they can coming in this different time kind of timeline. So A is the first letter, so I'm going to leave it as it is. From the R, I'm going to move to the right, 5 frames more. Same thing for each letter. So it's going to be kind of a chain reaction, or like a domino game. So letters coming in the different timelines, slightly overlapping. Don't do that. Okay. This and that. Almost. Almost there. Yes. So let's see. First frame we have an image. Arches National Park, which is cool. Problem is, once it is done on frame number 10, and it just disappears, because as you can see on the layer we have nothing. I mean each frame, it just is not there. So we just need to extend it from 1 to the very last keyframe. So I'm going to select except the letter K layer, select the frame number 95, the last frame, down to the very first one, and insert just the keyframe, hit F6. Arches National Park. Right? So it looks cool. So let me test it. Command return. Arches National Park. Okay, and the background image is kind of still looping. But it's kind of too quick still. Once Arches National Park, all the word came in. And I want to allow some kind of little time so your viewer can read it. So let's add just a few more frames from 95. So if I add maybe around 100, it's going to be 4 seconds. So I'm going to insert a new keyframe on frame number 200. All layers. F6. So let me test the movie. Arches National Park. Stay about 4 seconds. Now goes back to the beginning. So this sequence will be repeating and repeating and repeating automatically. Okay, so that's it.